Hi, my name is Monkey Green, and you are listening to CDSW 90.9 FM. We are talking to Tori Lacey. She is working as at Kello Inclusive at Correct as we representing this airport and visibly David Correct Baker Booty of disability divorce and activities deserves to be represented fully. Welcome to the show, Tori. And how are you?
I'm doing really good today. Thank you. How are you doing?
I am doing really good today.
Good. Thank you so much for having
You're welcome. So the first question is, can you tell us about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Tori. I live in Toronto. I live with a neuromuscular disease called spinal muscular atrophy, which basically causes the muscles in my body to be weak. So I've been in a wheelchair since the age of 2. Um, in terms of, my education and my professional experience, I went to school at Toronto Metropolitan University. I took a program called Creative Industries, which essentially was the study of the business side of the arts. So I studied the entertainment industry, and I also did my minor in disability studies because I was really interested in doing exactly what I'm doing now, which is finding a way to bring more disability representation into the arts and entertainment industry. So that's kind of like my background in terms of school and where I'm living. And yeah, I'm really grateful to be working for Kello now as a booking agent. It's been a really great journey with Kello, and yeah, I'm excited to be here just like talking more about it.
That's really awesome. Good thing. And here's another question for you is, do you mind telling us more about SMA type 2?
Yeah, for sure. So SMA type 2 is a neuromuscular disease. So it's very similar to, say, muscular dystrophy or ALS, which you may have heard of. They're a little bit more common diseases than SMA. So basically, it's a genetic neuromuscular disease, which means I was born with it. And it also means that as I get older, my muscles progressively get weaker over time. So when I was born, I've never been able to walk. I've never been able to stand, because my muscles have always been too weak in order to do so. So I got my first wheelchair at the age of 2. But abilities that I had when I was a little girl are no longer what I'm able to do. So when I was little, I had a lot more movement in my arms. I was kind of able to feed myself and just like move my hands a little bit better. I was able to sit up independently. And over time, those are abilities that I have lost. So as of now, I use a power wheelchair, and that's how I navigate my day-to-day life. I also have like a team of support workers and nurses that come into my home and they assist me every day with things like getting up in the morning and making my meals and making sure that, I'm able to go to work and be independent and kind of live the life I want despite my muscles not working very well.
Good for you. How did you first get involved in Kello?
Yeah, so I first got involved in Kello actually as a model. So I found out from one of my friends who also lives with SMA, that Kello was a new modeling agency in Canada that was specifically representing people with disabilities. And my friend had joined the roster and was starting to go for auditions and being able to start being cast in a couple different photo shoots. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like, I would love to do something like that. Modeling was never something that I particularly like saw in my future, but I thought it was such an amazing organization. So I reached out to Katie and I was like, hey, are you looking for any more models on your roster? And me and Katie had a meeting and she ended up signing me as a model. So I actually started just doing some auditions with them for the first couple months. And then it was last summer that Katie was hiring interns to help with some admin work over the summer, because like the roster was building so quickly. They were just like getting so many clients that the demand was just too much for Katie to solely operate this organization on her own. So she was hiring over the summer, and I ended up just applying to work for Kello because like I mentioned to you before, I actually did go to school to work in the entertainment industry. So although I was so interested in being a model as well, I was even more interested in being involved in like the back end of this industry, and really connecting with casting directors and see how this works. So I reached out to Katie and applied for the job, and I started that summer doing admin work for them, and I've kind of just been doing it ever since. And now I've transitioned to being a full agent. So I do manage my own roster at Kello, and I work with casting directors. And yeah, we work on getting people booked, whether it be commercials or films or still modeling shoots. We kind of do it all at Kello, and it's just a really exciting opportunity to be able to put disability representation at the forefront because I think that's something that is so often like forgotten about, specifically when we're talking about inclusion and diversity. So many other minority groups are thought of, but rarely the disability community is thought of when we're thinking about inclusion. So yeah, I'm so happy to be in the position that I am to be able to put all our incredible models up for like some truly amazing opportunities.
That is totally awesome. Tell us about her experience as a booking assistant with Kelly O. And does this role involve a traveling?
Yeah, so my role as a booking agent at Kello, it basically involves me. So I manage a roster of a little over 100 people myself. So basically, it involves me really getting to know my talent and their interests and what they're talented in and what they want to book work in. And then based on, you know, those answers, based on what I know about my talent, then I'm able to go out and find work for them. So it's really about building relationships with casting directors. It's really being in the know about what's casting and what opportunities are available for me to put our talent forward for. So at this point, it doesn't involve a lot of traveling as of yet. I am fairly new to the role. I've only been with Kello for a little over 8 months. So I haven't done any traveling with Kello yet, but that's not to say that that's not possible. We have had our models be tested internationally, so We've had a couple models go to Paris before. We've had some that are in Toronto Kids Fashion Week. So our models definitely travel depending on, the job that they get booked for. But I think as an agent, I get a little bit more of the boring side, which I mean, I'm not complaining. I love it so much. And it's a little more of just me at my computer, and just like putting people forward for like the most amount of opportunities possible. Again, it's really just getting our models in front of the right people to be able to cast them in those roles.
Poets? No way. That's way awesome.
It is. I really love it.
Yes, good for you. For our listeners who don't know, can you tell us about the inspiring behind Kelly O when it started and which area in Canada it covers?
Yeah, for sure. So Kello started a little over 2 years ago. It was started by our founder, Katie McMillan. And Katie's daughter is in a wheelchair and lives with a disability. And Katie tried for a while to get her daughter into modeling. And it's my understanding that they had signed her daughter with a couple different agencies. And what they were finding is that there wasn't really any agencies that were really equipped to understand the needs of models with disabilities. So, just sending people for auditions that when they showed up, there was a set of stairs to get in. And I think it's really frustrating when
Mm-hmm.
you're working with an agent that doesn't understand your needs and is not able to properly
Mm-hmm.
advocate for your needs because that's not their lived experience. It's not something that they understand. So Katie really saw an opportunity in the industry to not only be an agent that could be inclusive and understand like these nuances of, you know, what it looks like to be on an accessible set, what it looks like to send people for an audition that's truly accessible to them. But she really also was like, there's so little disability representation in the media right now, and Katie really saw that as an opportunity to start Kello and to start specifically representing people with disabilities so that we could see more of that representation in the media. So that was kind of her whole story behind it. Um, and it's been going strong ever since. We have over 200 people on our roster right now. And we cover all across Canada. So we have people signed on our roster from a majority of provinces in Canada. We're also slowly branching out to the US right now. So we do have some US models and actors, as well as a couple from the UK. So I think very soon you'll see Kello be more of an international thing, although, of course, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Katie in Canada, our roots started in Canada, and that's where, we have the most people on our roster right now. But yeah, I think it is very, very quickly growing. Um, and it's very possible that this will be an international thing very soon.
That really amazing. Here's my other question. What type of talent is Kelly O looking for?
Yeah, so basically, Kello does a lot of work in the commercial and modeling space. So we see a lot of castings for, commercials, whether, for any brand. We've done commercials for Lancome and Lego, government of Canada. We've had some really big castings and brands that we've worked with. So I would say anyone that's really interested in being being on camera, we do as well do like film and television. But I would say like our biggest two areas are like commercial and modeling work.
That is totally fit with me. I love entertainment.
Yes, yeah.
The next question is what kind of goals and strikes have you seen in Kelly, Colette, and including herself?
That's a really interesting question because I think that, I've been in a position to really see so much growth from our models and the people that we represent on our roster. As you can imagine, the barrier to entry for people with disabilities getting into the modeling industry is quite high. Traditionally, people with disabilities haven't really seen themselves be represented on screen, and therefore up until now, they haven't really seen it as a possibility to even try something like this. So, whereas a lot of other people might start modeling as a young child or in their teenage years, and they might start doing acting classes and theater classes, for a lot of the folks on our roster, this is completely new to them and they don't have any prior experience in this industry. So it's an interesting thing of we have people with so much talent and so much passion, but they don't necessarily have the experience to get into this industry. So it's just been really incredible to see these people who might not have the past experience, but to really put their mind to it and to be able to continue with their professional development and get training and really dedicate themselves to doing this. And just, seeing the audition tapes that people were doing 2 years ago versus the audition tapes that we're submitting now, it's huge. It's really the growth in our talent is massive. And I think that you can see that by the types of clients that we've been able to work with lately, specifically international clients. I think that really goes to prove like how much growth our roster has had. And, there's even a lot of our roster that they've done enough roles, specifically in film and television, that they've been able to join the actor union, which is also a really big accomplishment in and of itself. So yeah, I think it's so great to see like where Kello started and where our model started, and now 2 years later, where we are. It's quite amazing.
It's amazing what you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here's another question. Do you have a positive, clear feedback story you'd like to share with us?
I think all of the clients that we've worked with, the feedback has been so overwhelmingly positive, which is so great to hear. Like I mentioned before, this industry is really, really new, unfortunately, to working with people with disabilities. So oftentimes when they come to us and we're able to, say, send 5 or 6 of our talent to go film on their set, it's really a big eye opener to them about how inaccessible some of their practices are, how inaccessible some of their film sets are. And I think a lot of our clients have just been like, thank you so much for making us aware and making us aware of like how we need to make change for the better to make this industry more inclusive. So I think, you know, everyone has had really, really great experiences working with our talent. Our talent is always understanding that, again, this is new to the industry and things aren't going to be 100% accessible. But our talent has, really been willing to work with these casting directors and these producers to make things better. So yeah, I don't know if I have like one specific story to share at this time because there's honestly, it's just been overwhelmingly positive feedback from all of the clients that we've worked with, which is always so, so great to hear.
I like the best table. So I'm just way happy for you guys.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your encouragement.
You're welcome. What reaction do you see from the community about Kello Inclusive?
Yeah, so far we've received nothing but amazing support from the community. I think it's even if someone isn't interested in being a model or actor themselves, I think if you're a person with a disability, it just feels so special to see yourself represented on screen and to know that you're being thought of and know that stories are being told with you in mind. So, even like I said, even if someone's not actually interested in being a model or actor themselves, like we've had so much support just you know, being like, thank you for what you do. Like, this makes me feel so seen. And really, that's all we can ask for, right? Like, it's just it's so great to see all the positive support and that people are really resonating with what we do as an organization.
How do you see Kello developing in the future?
In the future, I really think that Kello will be known on more of an international scale. Like I mentioned before, Kello right now is primarily Canadian based, but we are already starting to expand into the US and into some other countries as well. So I think that where I really see the future of Kello is being able to be recognized on more of a global scale to continue to work with some really amazing international brands. I'm, also hoping that as our roster continues to get casted in projects and continues to get more experience, that they also start seeing some larger opportunities. So I know I mentioned that we do a lot of commercial work at the moment, a lot of modeling work, but I'd absolutely love for some of our clients to be casted in films and television shows. And I mean, we've already done some of that, but for those of our roster that are interested in acting, I would love to see more of those roles become available to them. So I think it's just, trucking along and doing what we're doing and building those connections with different casting directors in the industry, and just like continuing to get our name out there.
I love this one now. Happy with you and talking about
Oh,
this.
thank you so much.
Do you have a advice for inspire model with disabilities like myself?
Any advice for people with disabilities? I think that, you know, you just have to know that if there's something that you want to do, whether it be modeling, whether it be acting, whether it be a scientist, a doctor, whatever it is, that there's always, always space for you in the industry. And it might seem difficult. It might not seem like, you know, that area is inclusive for you, but please keep pushing ahead, keep making space for yourself because everyone with a disability deserves to be there. Everyone deserves to be there, and yeah, that your voice and your story is so important. So if there's something that you want to do it. Don't let anyone stop you.
Yes, for sure. Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I came through. And this one. So, is there anything else you'd like to add today?
I think the last thing that I'd like to add is that any of the listeners that are interested, specifically if you have a disability and you're interested in getting into the modeling and acting industry, please check us out. Kello Inclusive on Instagram, or you can visit kelloinclusive.org. There's an application on our website if you are interested in getting an agent and being represented by us. We don't necessarily require that anyone has experience in the industry as long as they have a willingness to learn and that they're interested and passionate about this and that they're comfortable in front of the camera. So if this is something that you see for yourself, please check out our website and we'd love to be in contact with you and see if there are any ways that we're able to work together.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Thank you for joining us today, Tori.
Thank you for having me. It was so wonderful talking to you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you for listening to another episode of for Airwaves on CJSW 9.9 FM.